in the sun, moon, and stars. We're back with more Mazzaroth, looking for the coming of Messiah, our blessed hope. Today, we're going to look at our next sign, the Sun's transit out of Cancer. We know that Venus is in the Silver Gate. Now we are looking for the following upcoming signs in the sun, moon, and stars. So what we see here we're going to take a closer look, is the constellation of Cancer. And what we see on August the 10th at 1:22 p.m. Pacific time is the Sun's transit out of the constellation of the Sheepfold, or Cancer. Mercury is still in the constellation of Cancer, and we know that Venus is still in the Silver Gate. And Venus will be in the Silver Gate until the 12th. So what we're looking for is the next upcoming signs. What happens over the next couple days as Venus transitions through the Silver Gate? What happens with the Sun and Mercury and any of the other planets? Let's take a look. What we see here, looking forward until the 18th, we see the moon and the sun finally come into conjunction in the constellation of Leo. At that point, Venus would have already gone all the way through the Silver Gate and would be in the constellation of Gemini. So let's go back and let's take a closer look at any of these signs focused in on Mercury. And let's see what's happening with Mercury. So we see here that Mercury, the messenger, is almost directly on top of the Sun. Let's go back and see if there's any signs. It looks like Mercury and the Sun directly align on the 17th. And I believe the Moon comes in on the 18th, at the end of the day. And I believe as you go forward, the Moon passes Regulus on the 19th. And there is somewhat of an alignment of the Moon and Mercury and the Sun on the 19th. You can see that here. The Moon, Mercury, the Sun, Regulus, all lining up on the 19th at 1:22 a.m. Pacific time. Let's see, it looks like it might be 1:21 Pacific time. So let's go back. And it looks like that Mercury goes into the crab's claw, and this would be an approximate time. At 1:04 p.m. on the 12th. And that has great significance because it is almost at the same time as Venus is transiting out of the Silver Gate. So let's take a look at that. We're going to go over to Venus, and we're going to look at Taurus, we know that this is the border of the Silver Gate, and I'm going to need to scroll back for you to see this in the video. So here we see the border lines of the constellation of Taurus, and if we scroll back, we'll be able to see how the club of Orion is in the Silver Gate, and we see the line of the Silver Gate being here. And if we come back a little more, you'll see the hand of Auriga, the foot of Gemini, and the club of Orion. And these all meet in the Silver Gate. And there is scripture about all of these sewn into the Bible. So what we're looking for now is the Gemini constellation. We're looking for this time when Venus transits into the constellation. And it looks like she's still in the gate, and she is getting close. So on the 12th, at some point during the day, at the end of the day, Venus will transit into the constellation of Gemini and will come out of the Silver Gate. It's a very important sign. Gates are always considered portals, windows, doors. Today I was doing a study on the Hebrew, the fourth letter Hebrew, the Da, and it is the door. And it is also in the ancient Hebrew Odiot, it is in the shape of a tent door, and it looks very similar to a pyramid. And we know in the world, pyramids are always considered to be portals, and the ancients knew these things. And in the heavens, we also see areas where there are pyramidal shapes, and we'll go show you a couple of those. So if we pull up Capricorn, we can see how this area here is in a pyramid shape, and the fish part of Capricorn is also in a pyramidal shape. And if we scroll in closer to Capricorn, we can see that this is broken up into two signs. The first sign being the fourth part or the front of this sign, which is the goat or the sacrifice, and the back part is the fish, which is considered resurrection. And this is the sign of the resurrection. Capricorn is known as the resurrection because it's going from the sacrifice to the fish of new life. The tail is in movement, the knee is bent as if the animal is going to die. You can look this up in MAZZAROTH information. This is an animal that's giving a kneel and it is dying. And in many of the pictures, the fish's tail is thrusting forth with new life. And this is a picture of our Messiah and the resurrection, and is also a picture of our resurrection. And it is also a great sign that Jupiter and Saturn come into their conjunction in the area right before Capricorn. And this becomes a great sign at the end of the year that we will be discussing in more detail as the year progresses. Today we are looking for the signs that we are going to see over the next week or 2 weeks. And all of these MAZZAROTH signs are like puzzle pieces for us that are trained to decipher the information, and we can help the body of Messiah to get closer to understanding the day of the escape, the day of the rapture, and the day of the return. For there will always be signs in the sun, moon, and stars. And so we look for those signs, and we bring those forth to the body of Messiah to allow them to decipher what they are seeing and hearing from the watchman. So, we have the transit of Venus happening right now until the 12th from the constellation of Taurus into the constellation of Gemini. Venus is in the Silver Gate. The moon also will enter into the area of the Pleiades on the 12th. So let's take a look at that. And let's see when the moon will align with the Pleiades. And it looks like around 7 p.m. on the 12th, the moon will align with the Pleiades. And let's see if there are any more signs for the 12th. And Mercury is in the claw. And I believe the sun has already made it out of the constellation of Cancer and is now in Leo, on its way to align with a Regulus. These are the signs that I'm seeing now. Up until the 12th, of August, we have Venus in the Silver Gate. We have the Sun's transit out of constellation Cancer, which is called the Sheepfold. Many are believing that we will see the escape of the bride while the Sun is in the constellation of Cancer. So let's go see when that transit happens in more detail. I believe it's here. The 10th. And we're looking at (1:22 p.m. on the 10th of August 2020. The Sun will transit out of the constellation of Cancer and from the 10th until the 12th we have great signs happening. So keep your eyes wide open, brides. Mercury the messenger is still in Cancer. The Sun is still in Cancer. And Venus is in the Silver Gate. Eyes to the skies.